Kicking It with Slim. So today's video is really touchy for me because I always think, like, how do one go missing and never seen again? Like, so nobody saw nothing, nobody heard nothing, there's no evidence, there's no video evidence, like nothing. It just be nothing. Like, it just literally be nothing. Nothing to go on. Nothing to help these families find their missing loved ones. And it always bothered me that people can just go missing and never heard from again. And it be years and months and days. Like, how do that happen? So today we're going to go over 6 different missing person cases. I did a lot of research for these missing person cases. It's just heartbreaking. It's really, really heartbreaking. Some of these people been missing for years. And it's just like, wow. So nobody knows nothing. Nobody's seen nothing. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care how anyone feels. When it comes to missing black women, men, women, children, the high alert is not there for us. It's like they don't care. You know what I'm saying? We get the bare minimum when it comes to people of color. And that is a known fact. You see it often. It's literally just a known fact. They don't care if we're missing. Minnie Yvette Taylor is originally from Haynesville, Louisiana. She's a black female with black hair and brown eyes. Minnie stands 5'3" and weighs 120 pounds to 150 pounds. She has a scar on both of her arms. In 1999, Minnie moved to El Dorado, Arkansas with her boyfriend and 5-year-old daughter. She had no relatives in the El Dorado area. Due to Minnie's struggle with addiction, her daughter went to live with her grandmother in Spring Hills, Louisiana. On May 26, 2002, 33-year-old Minnie was last seen at the Easy Mart convenience store in the 400 block of West Barrow Street in El Dorado, Arkansas. She hasn't been seen or heard from since. Minnie lived in a duplex on School Street, about 2 blocks away from the Easy Mart where she was last seen. It is unknown what she was wearing and when she went missing, or if she left on foot or a car. Her friend reported her missing to the El Dorado Police Department on June 10th. Another woman named Cynthia Robinson went missing from the El Dorado area the following year. Taylor and Robinson are similar in build. Both women drank heavily in frequently high crime areas known for drugs and alcohol activity. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Minnie Taylor, please contact the El Dorado Police Department at 870-881-4810 or Crime Stoppers at 870-863/info. Cynthia Robinson was born November 22, 1951. She was 51 at the time she went missing. Robinson is 5'6" and 120 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. She has a scar on the inside of her forehead and was last seen wearing a leopard print dress and a brimmed straw hat. Robinson was married. Her husband was quite sick with kidney problems and was on dialysis at the time she went missing. He died less than a year later. It was said that Robinson was into drugs and a heavy drinker. Robinson was last seen in El Dorado, Arkansas on July 30th, 2003. She was standing in front of Jeannie liquor stores arguing with a Caucasian man. She didn't take any of her belongings with her when she vanished, and she didn't have a car. Foul play is suspected in her disappearance. She has never been seen or heard from again. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Cynthia Robinson, please contact the El Dorado Police Department at 870-881-4810 or Crime Stoppers at 870-863/info. So with my missing person cases, I will give you guys like my theory or speculation on what I could possibly think could have happened to these missing people or if they're still alive. So my first theory with Minnie Taylor is, I know she had an addiction problem, okay? They said that. And she went missing in El Dorado, Arkansas. And another lady that I mentioned in this video, which is Cynthia Robinson, Miss Robinson went missing in El Dorado, Arkansas as well. So I'm thinking that maybe it was a serial killer in that town because the Miss Robinson went missing the year after Miss Taylor. So I was thinking like maybe it was a serial killer in that town and nobody knew who he was. Not only that, both women were similar in build and they both drink heavily and frequent high crime areas because Miss Robinson had a drug addiction as well. But she was seen outside Jeannie's liquor store arguing with a Caucasian male. So he could have had something to do with Miss Robinson going missing, you know. He was seen outside the store arguing with her, and she wasn't seen from or heard from ever since. So that's another possible scenario for Miss Robinson. For Miss Taylor, I don't know. I just feel like maybe it was a serial killer. I think that's the best theory to go with. That maybe it was some type of serial killer over there, and they did something to both of these women. You know, if you do have any information, please call the El Dorado Police Department in Arkansas. Sharon Ivory Jones. Sharon Ivory Jones was born October 17th, 1968. Jones was from Norfolk, Virginia. She was 33 years old at the time she went missing. Sharon is 5'4" and 130 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. Jones has a vaccine scar on the upper left arm and a tattoo of the characters Tweety Bird on her right upper arm at the shoulder. She was last seen in a black spaghetti strap tank top with a silver embroidery in the center, black pants, and black shoes. Jones attended the Norfolk State University. She was employed as a teacher's assistant in a preschool program at Lynn Haven Elementary School. Jones was last seen in Norfolk, Virginia on September 22, 2002. She went to a friend's wedding, then to a dance party afterwards with friends. She left driving her red Toyota at 3 a.m. of September 22nd. She was last seen driving Interstate 64 westbound from Chesapeake Boulevard. She had mentioned stopping at a Taco Bell restaurant, but it's unknown whether she did so. The Taco Bell was in the 8600 block of Glen Myrtle Ave in Norfolk, Virginia. Jones never arrived to pick up her daughter from the child's father care. Her car was later found parked in her assigned parking spot in front of Breezy Point Apartments, where she lived. Authorities found signs of a disturbance in Jones' apartment after she disappeared. The door was unlocked, some items had been broken, the cords had been pulled out of both telephones. None of her personal belongings were missing. Jones' parents found the outfit she had been wearing when she was last seen inside her apartment after she disappeared. Her parents say it's uncharacteristic of her to leave without warning and that she kept in regular contact with them by telephone. She is described as a devoted parent. Jones has not accessed her bank account since she disappeared. If you know anything, please contact the Norfolk Police Department at 757-664-7291. So the next person on my list is Shannon Ivory Jones. Miss Jones was from Virginia, and it was some disturbing details in this story here. So the first thing I want to mention is the door was unlocked. Some of the items have been broken in her house. The cords to the phones has been pulled out. Now, you have to think that this was back in 2002, so I'm guessing it was a house phone where the cord was pulled out of. None of her personal belongings was missing. The clothes she was wearing the night before when she went out to the wedding and a dance party was home. Her parents found those clothes at home. So I'm guessing she let someone in her apartment. And it had to be someone she knew because she was home. Like, she had those clothes off. That means she took them off. So that means she took them off. So that means she was home relaxing or sleeping, whatever, and someone came to her door. And she let someone in. So in this case, I think the details is in that apartment. Okay. I really do think the details is in that apartment, and Miss Jones hasn't been heard from again since 2002. So who knows if this apartment building is still even standing up, if this complex is still even up. Who knows if the police thoroughly search, look for clues, look for evidence when it comes to missing person cases, especially people of color. But if you have any information or know anything about Mrs. Jones' case, please contact the Norfolk, Virginia Police Department. Thank you. Next, we got Verwanda Smith. Verwanda Smith was born May 31st, 1972. She's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She's 5'9" and weighs between 135 pounds to 150 pounds. She has light brown hair and brown eyes. Smith's hair was styled in braids at the time of her disappearance. Smith had a gold ring on the middle finger of her right hand. A light blue uniform shirt and dark blue uniform pants, except the logo was on her shirt. She graduated from Central High School. She attended business school and worked at a bank. Then in 1994, Smith worked as a bus driver for SEPTA, the public transportation system. She was a hold-down operator, meaning she substituted whenever other drivers were sick or on vacation. Her parents described her as a responsible individual who would not have left without warning. Smith reported for work at 4 a.m. on February 18, 1997. At 12 p.m., she was involved in a minor traffic accident and had to fill out an accident report at the depot. She completed her shift at 1:30 p.m. One of her coworkers offered her a ride home, and she stated that she already had a ride that she was waiting for. She was last seen at the depot near Oak York Road and Windsor Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at 7 p.m., several hours after she ended her workday. She did not have a car and usually got rides from her coworkers or her father, or she took the bus. Some have speculated that Juan Covington, a diagnosed schizophrenic from a SEPTA employee and a serial killer, may have been involved in Smith's case. He had asked Smith for a date, but she rejected him, and she disappeared shortly after arguing with him at the inspecting yard. Covington has not been charged in Smith's disappearance. Investigators stated that there was no evidence he was involved in her case. The fact that she knew him may have just been entirely coincidental. Smith apparently never arrived at her apartment and has never been heard from again. Smith's case remains unsolved. So the next person on our list is Verwanda Smith. Okay, Miss Smith is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and this case was disturbing to me as well because one of her coworkers, his name was Juan Covington. He was a diagnosed schizophrenic, and he ended up being a serial killer. Okay, and he was seen having an argument with her shortly after she disappeared. Okay, and then what I didn't get was she had a minor traffic accident at 12 p.m. She completed her shift at 1:30 p.m. But she was last seen leaving her work yard at 7 p.m. So from 1:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., what was she doing in that time frame? So that right there was my... So that just left me like, well, what was she doing? That's like a 5.5 hour gap from that time. And then who picked her up? Like, who picked up? Nobody saw her who got picked up. There wasn't no cameras in front of the job. So that right there just left me in a whole mystery within itself. Like, so if you have any information about Mrs. Verwanda Smith's case, please call the Philadelphia Police Department, because that right there that's crazy. And this is what bugs me. Like, this is really what bugs me out, because it's like, how do you go missing without a trace? Like, nobody know nothing. These cases has always been something that triggers something in my mind. So, bear with me. Next, we have Aaliyah Bell. Aaliyah Bell was born January 30th, 1996. She's from South Carolina. She's 5'6" and weighs 145 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. She has her lips pierced, and she also has star tattoos on the left side of her abdomen. Aaliyah was 18 at the time she went missing. She was last seen wearing a black pea coat, gray leggings or jogger pants, neon blue and green shoes. Belle was a student at the Phoenix Academy on Flint Street at the time of her disappearance. It's not a traditional high school with a flexible schedule that offers online classes as well as face-to-face instructions twice a week. It was said she attended school on the day of her disappearance. She planned to become a hairstylist after graduation. On November 25th, 2014, Belle was last seen walking down Chestnut Street near her uncle's home in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Just 2 days before Thanksgiving, a family member wired her $100 on the day of her disappearance so she could go shopping, but she never picked up the money. Since Belle's disappearance, she hasn't been active on her social media accounts and hasn't contacted her family, which is uncharacteristic of her behavior. She has never been heard from again. She left behind her cell phone, wallet, all her clothes, and other belongings. Belle's loved ones stated she would never took a ride from a stranger or someone she didn't trust. Her family believes she may have left involuntarily, and if she did, someone or something may have been preventing her from returning home. They are concerned for her safety. There were possible sightings of Belle at motels after her disappearance. She may be in Charlotte or Fayetteville, North Carolina, or in Atlanta, Georgia. If you have any information about what happened to Miss Belle, please call Rock Hill Police Department at 803-329-7200. Again, the number is 803-329-7200. Thank you. Okay, so the next person we had is Aaliyah Belle. Miss Belle was from South Carolina, right, y'all? So she was in school or whatever. She was 18 at the time she went missing. They said she went to pick up $100 that a family member had wired her the day she went disappeared, but she never picked up the money. So what transpired from her leaving her uncle's house, and she left behind her cell phone, her wallet, her clothes, all her personal belongings. So what 18-year-old that's leaving behind all their personal belongings? Like, most 18-year-olds won't even stay off their phones. The kids nowadays not even staying off their phones. And she went missing in 2014. So she went missing in 2014. So social media is lit. Facebook, Instagram. So what 18-year-old is leaving her belongings? They have said it was possible sightings of her in a motel in Charlotte, North Carolina, or Atlanta, Georgia, but that wasn't confirmed. I don't know. I don't think no 18-year-old is just going to run away and just leave all her personal belongings to go be in a motel years later. Sex trafficking with this case is possible because she's young. Anybody could have just picked her up or whatever, told her, hey, I'll give you a ride to go pick up that money, and then just never let her go. So that's my theory for Mrs. Aaliyah. Next we have Sapphire T. Wiggins. Sapphire Wiggins was born May 21st, 1991. She's from Atlantic City, New Jersey. She's 5'1" and 110 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. Wiggins has several tattoos: the name Jamal on her right cheek, the letter K or the name Kevin on her ring finger, a puzzle piece on her left wrist, the letter S with a heart on her right forearm, and a rose on her right thigh. She has a mole on the back of her neck. She has her ears pierced. She was last seen wearing a black shirt and black pants. Wiggins had dreams of becoming a police officer, but later spoke of a career in acting. Her family described her as an outgoing woman. Wiggins had a 6-year-old son at the time of her going missing. He would now be 14. On October 15, 2014, Wiggins was last heard from when she spoke to her sister on the phone in Atlantic City, New Jersey. She left her vehicle behind at her home on the North New York Ave. There was no evidence of a struggle inside of her residence. At the time of her disappearance, Wiggins was dating Kevin Shelton. They had been seeing each other for approximately 6 months. Wiggins said she wanted to marry him, but Shelton was already married and had 2 children by his wife of 30 years. It is unclear whether Wiggins was aware that he was married. On October 17th, 2 days after Wiggins' disappearance, Shelton's blue 2002 Porsche drove Atlantic City Expressway to exit 12 in Hamilton Township, then to Bridgeton, Hopewell Townships in Cumberland County. He then drove to Elk Township before returning to Atlantic City. At 10:39 a.m., October 18, 2014, Shelton called his son and said he was in trouble and things got out of hand and that he would be going to prison for 10 to 15 years. He drove a gold 2003 Ford Escape to the Vinland, New Jersey area before returning home. 3 days after Wiggins had last contact with her family, Shelton was found hanging inside his estranged wife's home in New Jersey. He left a suicide note asking for God to have mercy on him. The note didn't mention Wiggins, instead addressed Shelton's wife, children, saying he loved them. His death was ruled a suicide. Blood from Shelton and Wiggins was found in Shelton's Porsche. Authorities believe Wiggins was the victim of foul play, possibly at Shelton's hands, and is deceased. They think her remains could have been disposed somewhere along the route Shelton took immediately before his death. He grew up in Hopewell Township and was thus very familiar with the area. If you have any information regarding this case, please contact the Atlantic City Police Department at 609-347-5767. Again, that number is 609-347-5767. So the last person we got is Sapphire T. Wiggins. She was from Atlantic City, New Jersey. She was messing with a married man, but it's unknown if she knew he was married, okay? So the married man, Mr. Shelton, he texted his son at 10:39 a.m., October the 18th, 2014. And he texted him, he was like, I'm in trouble, things got out of hand. That would get me in prison for 10 to 15 years, okay? So I believe Mr. Shelton killed Mrs. Wiggins because they still haven't found her body. They found his car going through different types of tolls in that county. And he was basically the last person to see her. So that whole situation just was fishy to me. Like, it didn't make sense.